Hey, what's going on, everybody? Matt Campbell here, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful first day of the week. It's Monday. Usually these go up on Saturday, and this past weekend was a little too busy. And then last weekend, it hurt too much to talk. I've got a bad tooth. I hope you guys would do me a favor and pray for that. It's starting to feel a little bit better, but the fact is I got to get it out. So I'm going to talk to you today and challenge you this week. What I was going to say last weekend. But so here we go. So in life, whenever we're having to go through recovery, or whenever we're just facing life in general, it doesn't necessarily have to be about addiction and recovery, with this particular subject, because we all face it. You know, ministers, pastors, husbands, wives, men, women, children. It doesn't matter. I think this applies in all aspects of life. So we tend to see into the future through a wrong scope of view, right? So, and what I'm talking about is what if. There's always this question that kind of pops up in our minds whenever we're looking at doing something new, whenever we're looking at trying to build a new habit, or chasing a dream, or going to get a new job, or one thing in particular, you know, carrying out God's call on our life. And, you know, we hear the call, or we get spoken to, or we go to that job interview, and there's this thing in the back of our head, there's this thought, there's this question that says, well, what if? And what am I talking about when I say what if? Well, I'm talking about the fear, basically the fear of failure, the fear of rejection. Right? We ask ourselves, you know, what if I fail? Or what if I'm not good or strong enough? Or, you know, what if I go after this and I lose it all? And see, this is one of the enemy's tactics, because it's not necessarily that the enemy put that thought in our head, because A, 90% of our thoughts are automatic, and B, through years of bad programming, we think that the thoughts that we think must be true, but they're not. So when these thoughts come in, the enemy likes to play on that and heighten those, so we become afraid. And I'd venture to say that most of us out there listen to that voice rather than listening to the truth. And so whenever you find yourself with that what if, you know, we're asking God, we're asking other people, you know, what if I go for this? What if I put all the drugs down and decide to do something about my addiction and trust in God? And what if I fail in recovery? What if I fail as a parent? You know, God, I hear that you've called me to some sort of ministry to step out and be bold in the faith, but what if I fail you? What if I'm not good, or what if I'm not strong enough? Well, let's look at the story of Moses and the burning bush, right? So I don't have the scripture or my notes right here in front of me, so bear with me on this. But in Exodus 3, you see the account of Moses and the burning bush, and God comes down. The bush is on fire; it's engulfed in flames, but the bush isn't consumed. And he tells Moses, he says that, you know, you're going to go and free my people from Pharaoh, from Egypt, and bring them out. You know, you're going to do this. And Moses has this big what if, but it's not presented, it's not worded as what if. With Moses, you see it as, you know, his response to God's call is, who am I? You know, but this is a what if moment, right? He asks God back, he says, who am I that I can go do this? You know, who am I that you would call me? And the Lord goes on to tell him, you know, basically, don't worry about it. And when they ask, which is another what if moment in this story, he says, you know, what if they ask me who sent me? You know, what am I supposed to tell them? And God answers them, tell them that I am. And basically this means that I am becoming whatever you need me to be. I am your comfort. I am your strength. I am your grace. I am your love. I am your acceptance. You know, I am what I am, is what God tells Moses. So in this what if moment, if you're facing one of those, if that's a thought that's reoccurring whenever you're going out through this week, I want to challenge you to counter that with what is. And what I mean is, your what if says, what if I fail? Well, what is the truth behind that? So let's look at a couple of different scriptures on this. What if I fail? Well, God, what is your truth? And God's truth is, answered with another question by, what is my grace? Well, scripture says that my grace is sufficient for you. So don't worry about failing. I've got you. This is what God says to us. What if I'm not good? Or what if I'm not strong enough? And God tells us in Zechariah, he says, not by strength or by my power, but by my spirit. Okay. And then the last one that a bunch of us look at whenever we're going through recovery or stepping into something new or taking a risk or chasing our dreams, God, what if I lose everything? And he tells us the same thing that he tells Moses back in Exodus 3. What if I lose everything? You won't, because I will be with you. And this is a promise from God. So this week, I want to challenge you, whenever you're going out, whenever you're getting ready to, take the kids back to school or go to work, or you've heard a call, or you're thinking about stepping out into recovery, or you're, fill in the blank here. When that what if comes in, counter it with what is the truth. What is God's truth about this? And it'll get you through that momentary fear, and learn to incorporate this into your daily life, and it will get easier. So God bless you. And next weekend, or this coming weekend rather, we're going to have another guest come and do a video. His name is Jared Coker. He just launched Different Ministries. I met him in early recovery. He's a great dude. And so be praying for that. And he's going to bring an awesome message this coming weekend. Everybody have a great back to school week, and have a great Monday. Love you. God bless.